All right, here we are on page 50. This represents the remaining keys. Well, let me just talk briefly about how many notes we have in, I'm going to say, in Western classical music tradition. Other parts of the world, they actually have different sets of notes, different scale systems, and different pitch systems than we do in sort of Western classical tradition. But if you look at a piano and I start on a C and I play all the notes to the next C, there's basically 12 half steps and then we start repeating. So that's it. There's no more notes possible. And because we know that the pattern whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, when applied to any starting note, always gives us a major scale, right? That means that if I play that pattern starting on a C, we get C major. If I start on a C sharp and follow the same pattern, we get C sharp major. If I start on a D. So we can play that same major pattern no matter where we start on the keyboard. So on page 50, they're essentially showing us what all of those scales look like, or what all of the key signatures look like if you were to start the pattern on any given note of the keyboard. So in the earlier book, or sorry, in the earlier pages of the book, we did the two simplest sharp keys. We did the key of G, which has one sharp, and we did the key of D, which has two sharps. Starting here, they give us the key of A, which has three sharps, E major, which has four, and on down the line. And basically that just means that we just have to keep changing or altering notes in order to observe that pattern of whole steps and half steps. And as we observe that pattern, we have to add more and more sharps as we work our way through the list in order for the intervals to work out. On the flat side, we already did the key of F major, which has one flat. We did the key of B flat major, which has two flats, right? B flat and E flat. If we go to E flat major, it requires three flat notes in order to keep that pattern working. So let me go to E flat. I'm going to start here. There's E flat. We have an A flat, a B flat, C, D, E flat. So three of the notes, B flat, E flat, A flat, have all been lowered in order to observe the pattern that creates a major scale. So going through these, as we work our way further and further in, we have to flat more and more notes in order to observe that pattern, which gives us a major scale. Don't be overwhelmed, please. The truth of the matter is that for a lot of music, we don't often get into these keys. I mean, yeah, it definitely is there. It happens, and there's different reasons why we might play a piece in one of these other keys, but a lot of popular music, a lot of music in general, musicians are like everybody else. They don't really want to make it so difficult to read. And if you had the choice of playing a piece of music in G flat major or G major, what's a half step amongst friends, right? I'd probably just put it in G major just to make everybody's life easier. And so don't be overwhelmed by all of this. If you're understanding the concept of observing that scale pattern of half steps and whole steps, and then just altering notes in order to observe that pattern, then that's the concept. And over time, as a musician, when you play these on your instrument or play them in songs, they start to accumulate and they start to get in you. But I'm sure that most musicians would agree that they know some scales a lot better than others. I know it's true for me. If you're a really complete musician, you can work your way through any scale, any key with total comfort and ease. But I would dare to say that even some of the best musicians in the world would admit that some of the keys are more difficult for them because they're just, a road less traveled, generally speaking. So at the bottom of page 50, can you practice identifying what key it is and just cheat. Just look up here. Like, okay, the first one has 3 sharps. What's that? Oh, right here. This one has 3 sharps. That's the key of A major. And later on in the class, I'm going to show you some tricks for identifying key signatures or keys. But it's really just practice. It's like learning your times tables. Eventually, you just kind of memorize them. And honestly, that's the easiest way to get the information into you as solidly as possible. So go through the bottom of page 50, practice identifying the keys by the number of sharps they have. And then at the very bottom of the page, I want you to practice writing those key signatures. And remember, there's an order to the sharps and the flats. And also, there's a specific location where they can go. So maybe I'll just do a couple of these and end the video like this. Let's look at A flat major on the treble clef. So if you look at your book on page 50, A flat major has 4 flats. They are B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. And we always write them in this order: B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. So you notice that I'm starting here, then I go up and then down, up and down. It's going to keep following that same pattern. And I have to write them in those particular positions on the staff. So let me give you an incorrect version of this key signature. B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. So I've changed one of the flat signs here. I moved the E flat. Whoops, I missed it. I screwed it up even worse than I thought I did. So B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. Sure, that's on the line for E flat, but it's not the convention. It's not where we put the key signature. So this would be wrong. So that's correct. This is incorrect. And you can refer to your book. By all means, cheat and look at it when you're working on these exercises. Just kind of start to memorize where things go. And if you have any questions, hit me up in the discussion forum. Maybe I can help work you through it there. All right. Good luck with key signatures in the remaining keys.